I stand before the mirrored table, fingers poised above the tools of transmutation, wand, cup, blade, and coin. The old elements aligned as if awaiting a command. The red and white of my robes hum with intention. The infinity that crowns my brow pulses like a quiet promise. I am the magician, conduit, alchemist, the single point where inner forge and outer world meet. Thought is the first spark. It is not a whisper but a pattern, a geometry of attention that sets the unseen in motion. Each idea threads itself through the lattice of possibility, a silver filament drawn taut between want and world. Thoughts do not merely reflect reality, they architect it. They sketch the doorway by which experience may enter, and if you tend those sketches with consistent energy, the door will open. To think is to send a magnet into the field. The mind, concentrated, becomes a compass needle, pointing towards one eventuality among many. Desire, sharpened by conviction, is the heat that anneals possibility into form. Doubt cools and fractures, faith tempers and refines. The world answers not to idle wishes but to sustained attention, to those mental acts that are carried like a torch through the night until the dark yields. Magic is not trumped by theatrics alone. It is the art of intentional causality. I place my hand upon the table and feel the hum of potential under my skin. Words, spoken, silent, or imagined, are seals that bind fate to function. When I declare, "For my next trick I shall turn my thoughts into reality," this is no flippant boast, but an invocation, a binding of inner architecture to outer happening. The phrase itself is a ritual, a clear incision that lets intention pour through. The esoteric path teaches that all things are layered. There is the world of symbols, where thought reigns, and the world of matter, where consequence dwells. To move from symbol to stone requires alignment, clarity of aim, purity of will, and the removal of internal contradictions that leak power. Symbols, when used with respect, become bridges. The magician lifts his tools not to pretend, but to translate. He renders thought legible to the language of cause. Do not fear the enormity of this claim. To shape reality is not to command fate as a tyrant commands subjects, but to become a skilled gardener of circumstances. Plant a thought, water it with attention, feed it with disciplined action, guard it from the blight of errant belief. Watch how the shoot of circumstance bends toward the light you cultivate. Synchronicities are the soil's answer, tiny miracles signaling that the inner ley lines have aligned with outer events. There is also a shadow to heed. Thought can create limitation as readily as liberation. A mind looped upon lack will summon its image until the world concedes. The magician knows the ethical contour of his craft. Power needs counsel. Imagination needs wisdom. Let your thoughts be free but not frivolous. Let them be bright but not brittle. So stand where you stand, as I stand now, palms open to the unseen. Know that the world around you is responsive clay, and that the chisel you hold is your focused mind. Speak your intention as both promise and command. Tend it with patient practice and honest action. In time, the trick will seem no trick at all, but the natural consequence of an inner economy finally brought into honest trade with the outer. For my next trick I shall turn my thoughts into reality. And when the curtain parts, you will see not spectacle, but the tracing of a mind made true.